Ever feel like life's burdens get heavier as the years go by? That invisible weight on your shoulders that seems to grow with each passing birthday? Let's change that starting today. My friend, by the end of this video, you'll know 3 life-changing habits to let go of for a peaceful, joyful life. 3 burdens you've likely been carrying far too long. 3 weights you can finally set down. Life teaches us many lessons, but one of the most important is learning what to hold on to and what to release. As we age, this wisdom becomes not just helpful, but essential for our happiness. The habits we'll explore today might seem like old friends. They've been with you for years, perhaps decades, but they're not serving you anymore. Some of these may surprise you, but once you embrace them, you'll feel lighter, happier, and more free than you have in years. Life teaches us many lessons, but one of the most important is learning what to hold on to and what to release. As we age, this wisdom becomes not just helpful, but essential for our happiness. Do you want more videos about finding peace as you age? Like this video to let me know, and drop a 1 in the comments. I read every single one. The habits we'll explore today might seem like old friends. They've been with you for years, perhaps decades, but they're not serving you anymore. Some of these may surprise you, but once you embrace them, you'll feel lighter, happier, and more free than you have in years. I've worked with thousands of people in their golden years, and I've seen firsthand how letting go of these 3 habits transforms lives. People who once thought their best days were behind them discovered an entirely new chapter of joy and peace. And the 3rd habit? It's the hardest to break, but it's the one that will change your life the most. It's the key that unlocks a door many people never find, a door of profound inner peace. So settle in, take a deep breath. Your journey to a lighter, more peaceful life begins now. Habit number 1, let go of regret. Imagine carrying a heavy suitcase for years. Every regret, every what if, every if only weighing you down. Your arms ache, your shoulders hurt, your pace slows to a crawl. Now imagine setting it down. That's what letting go of regret feels like. We all have moments we wish we could change. Words left unsaid, paths not taken, opportunities missed, the job you didn't take, the relationship you let slip away, the time you didn't spend with someone before they were gone. But regret is a weight that serves no purpose. It cannot change the past. It cannot heal old wounds. It can only rob you of today's joy and tomorrow's potential. Here's a powerful truth that took me years to learn. Regret is proof that you cared, that you lived, that you tried. But it doesn't have to define your future. Let me tell you about Eleanor. At 72, she came to one of my workshops, shoulders slumped, eyes downcast. When I asked what was weighing on her, she shared that she spent 30 years regretting not pursuing her passion for painting. I could have been an artist, she said, tears in her eyes. But I chose the safe path instead. For 3 decades, Eleanor had been punishing herself for a choice she made when she was young and facing different circumstances. 30 years of what-ifs had stolen her joy. 6 months after our workshop, Eleanor sent me a photo. She was standing in front of an easel, paintbrush in hand, smile brighter than I'd ever seen. Better late than never, she wrote. I'm finally free. Eleanor's story isn't unique. So many of us lock ourselves in prisons of regret, carrying keys we refuse to use. So how do we set ourselves free? Here are 3 actionable steps to release regret. First, acknowledge it. Look your regret in the eye and say, yes, this happened, but it does not control me. Naming your regret takes away its power. It's no longer a shadow lurking in the corner. It's just a moment in time, one of thousands that make up your life. Second, find the lesson. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? Every regret contains wisdom if we're willing to look for it. Maybe you learn about your values, your priorities, or your capacity for resilience. Find the gift within the pain. Third, refocus on the present. The past is gone. It exists only in your mind. Ask yourself, what can I do today? Eleanor couldn't get those 30 years back, but she could pick up a paintbrush today. What's your equivalent? Remember, your past is a chapter, not the whole book. The most beautiful pages are the ones you're still writing. I once heard someone say that regret is like looking in the rearview mirror while trying to drive forward. You'll crash every time. It's time to keep your eyes on the road ahead, my friend. If you're ready to put down that heavy suitcase, take a deep breath. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders. Your journey to peace starts now. Before we move to the second habit, I want you to try something. Close your eyes for a moment if you're able. Think of one regret you've been carrying. Now imagine placing it in a box, closing the lid, and setting it down beside the road. You acknowledge it existed, but you're not taking it with you anymore. How does that feel? Lighter, isn't it? Habit number 2, let go of toxic relationships. Have you ever left a conversation feeling drained rather than uplifted? Found yourself rehearsing what to say to someone because you're walking on eggshells around them? Or maybe you dread seeing certain names pop up on your phone. Maybe it's time to ask why. As we journey through life, we collect relationships along the way. Some are treasures, enriching our lives with joy, support, and understanding. Others, well, they're more like anchors, keeping us tethered to negative emotions and draining our energy reserves. Here's a truth that might be hard to hear at first. Not all relationships are meant to last forever. Some serve a purpose for a season, but aren't meant to stay. Think of your relationships like a garden. Some people are flowers, bringing joy, beauty, and fragrance to your life. Others are weeds, slowly draining the nutrients from your soil, leaving little room for growth or joy. And here's the thing about gardens. They require regular maintenance. Sometimes that means pruning. I know what you might be thinking. But this person's been in my life for decades. But they're family. But what will people think? You may feel guilty for stepping back. But here's another truth. Your peace is just as important as anyone else's. You deserve relationships that nourish rather than deplete you. Let me introduce you to Martin. At 68, he realized he dreaded his weekly lunches with a group of friends he'd known since high school. All they do is complain, he told me, about their health, about politics, about how everything was better in the old days. I leave feeling like the world is ending. Martin had been enduring these lunches for years out of a sense of loyalty. But loyalty to what? Certainly not to his own well-being or joy. When Martin finally started declining these gatherings, not all at once, but gradually, he noticed something remarkable. His outlook improved. His energy returned. He found time for new activities and new people who shared his positive perspective. I wish I'd done this years ago, he told me. I didn't realize how much those relationships were affecting me. Let's identify 3 types of toxic relationships you might have in your life. First, there's a complainer. Nothing is ever right in their world. The weather is too hot or too cold. Their children never call enough. The government is always wrong. Being around them is like being caught in a storm cloud with no umbrella. Second, there's a guilt tripper. These folks use guilt as currency to keep you close. After all I've done for you, I guess I'll just be alone then. They've mastered the art of making you feel responsible for their happiness. Third, there's an emotional leech. They take and take and take, but never give back. Your problems are trivial compared to theirs. Your time is always available. Your energy is theirs for the taking. So how do you gracefully step back from these relationships? Here are 3 approaches. First, set clear boundaries. This might sound like, I care about you, but I can't take on this negativity anymore. I'd love to spend time together when we can focus on positive things. You're not in the relationship. You're redefining its terms. Second, limit contact. You don't have to cut people off entirely, though sometimes that's necessary. Instead, reduce frequency. That daily phone call can become weekly. That weekly lunch can become monthly. Distance yourself, even if slowly. Third, surround yourself with positive people. Nature abhors a vacuum. As you create space by stepping back from toxic relationships, Fill it with people who uplift you, who see the best in you, who energize rather than drain you. Nurture relationships that make you feel seen, heard, and valued. Remember, my friend, you deserve relationships that make your life richer, not heavier. Choose wisely. Choose peace. As we age, our energy becomes more precious. We simply don't have the reserves we once did to accommodate relationships that deplete us. It's not selfish to protect your peace. It's necessary. Think of it this way. On an airplane, they always tell you put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. You can't pour from an empty cup. By prioritizing relationships that fill you up, you actually have more to give to those who truly deserve your time and energy. Before we move to our third habit, take a moment to reflect. Is there someone in your life who consistently leaves you feeling drained? What would it feel like to create some healthy distance there? Sit with that thought as we continue. Habit number 3, let go of resentment and forgive. Resentment is like carrying a burning coal, waiting to throw it at someone who hurt you. But the only one getting burned is you. Of all the burdens we carry as we age, this might be the heaviest and the most damaging. You think holding on to resentment protects you somehow, that it keeps you safe from being hurt again. In reality, it keeps the pain alive, feeding it daily with your attention and energy. Maybe someone hurt you deeply. Maybe a friend betrayed your trust. A family member took advantage of you. A colleague stole your idea. A partner broke your heart. Maybe you've been carrying that anger for years, even decades. But here's the hard truth. It's only hurting you. Research shows that chronic resentment and anger are linked to higher blood pressure, increased risk of heart disease, weakened immune function, and higher levels of anxiety and depression. Your body literally pays the price for the grudges your mind refuses to release. Dr. Charlotte Whitliet, a psychologist who studied forgiveness, found that when people ruminate on wrongs done to them, they experience heightened physiological stress responses. Their blood pressure rises, their heart rate increases, and their muscles tense. But when they practice forgiveness, these physiological responses diminish. Simply put, resentment makes you sick. Forgiveness helps you heal. Let me tell you about George. At 75, he came to one of my retreats still seething with anger toward his business partner, who had cheated him out of his retirement savings 20 years earlier. He ruined my life, George insisted. I'll never forgive him. The truth? George's partner had moved on long ago. He was living his life, probably rarely thinking about what happened. Meanwhile, George was still suffering, still reliving betrayal daily, still allowing it to color his world. Over the course of our retreat, George realized something profound. His resentment hadn't punished his former partner. It had punished him. It had robbed him of joy, of peace, of present moment awareness for 2 decades. I gave him my money, George said on the final day, tears streaming down his face. I don't need to give him the rest of my life, too. So how do we release resentment? Here are 3 steps that have helped thousands find freedom. First, acknowledge the pain. This is different from dwelling on it. Simply say, this happened, it hurt, it was unfair, but it does not control me anymore. Naming the hurt without embellishing the story is powerful. Second, choose forgiveness. For you, not them. Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was okay. It doesn't mean you have to reconcile or allow them back into your life. It simply means you're no longer willing to carry the burden of hatred. As the saying goes, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Third, reframe the story. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim, see yourself as a survivor. This pain made you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. It taught you something valuable about life, about people, or about yourself. Find the strength in your story. Let me guide you through a brief visualization. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place to do so. Picture yourself standing by a river. In your arms, you're holding a heavy rock. This rock represents all the resentment, all the anger, all the unforgiveness you've been carrying. Feel its weight. Notice how your muscles strain to hold it, how it limits your movement, how it demands your attention. Now, Slowly, deliberately, bend down and place that rock by the riverbank. You don't need to throw it dramatically or push it into the water. Simply set it down with intention. Feel the relief in your arms, your back, your shoulders as you straighten up without the burden. Take a deep breath. Feel the lightness, the freedom. The rock still exists. You haven't erased the past, but it no longer weighs you down. You've chosen to continue your journey without it. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can choose peace for your future. Let go and set yourself free. Forgiveness might be the hardest habit we discussed today, but it's also the most transformative. It's the key that unlocks the door to genuine peace. As Lamont beautifully put it, not forgiving is like drinking rat poison and then waiting for the rat to die. Stop drinking the poison, my friend. Choose life. Choose peace. Choose forgiveness. As we reach the end of our journey together today, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've explored. We've talked about 3 habits to leave behind for a more peaceful life. Let go of regret. Your past doesn't define you. Those what-ifs and if-onlys are heavy luggage you no longer need to carry. Your future is still unwritten, still bright with possibility. Let go of toxic relationships. Protect your peace. Surround yourself with people who uplift rather than drain you. Remember, it's not selfish to step back from relationships that consistently leave you feeling depleted. Let go of resentment. Forgiveness sets you free. That burning coal isn't hurting the person who wronged you. It's burning your own hands. Set it down and feel the relief wash over you. These habits don't disappear overnight. Letting go is a practice, not a one-time event. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. Notice how much lighter you feel with each burden you set down. Life in your golden years is meant to be fulfilling, not weighed down by burdens from the past. You've earned this time of peace. You deserve this freedom. The best days of your life aren't behind you. They're still ahead, each one an opportunity to live with less weight, more joy, and deeper peace. Before we part ways, I'd love to hear from you. What's the heaviest burden you're carrying right now? Let me know in the comments. You might inspire someone else. And if this message spoke to you, be sure to subscribe for more wisdom and inspiration. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Until next time, remember, peace isn't found in perfect circumstances. It's found in letting go of what you cannot change and embracing what you can. Thank you for joining me today. Go forward lighter, freer, and at peace.